And the moon is about to prove it, because on the night of July 22nd, 2025, a rare lunar alignment locks into place. And when it does, nothing around you or within you will respond the same. This isn't reflection, it's redirection. For years, the sky has been quietly writing the next chapter of your life. Tomorrow, the page turns with or without you. It's been right in front of you, things working on paper, but not in reality. The right words at the wrong time, moments where everything looks fine, but somehow doesn't fit anymore. That's not random, that's the point. Because this moon doesn't shine for you to admire it, it moves you, ready or not. If you miss it, you don't get another chance, because the universe doesn't pause, it chooses. This rare moon event on July 22nd, 2025, shows up like a clear signal, strong, undeniable, and right on time. It's the kind of cosmic moment that shifts your rhythm without forcing anything. Suddenly, you see things sharper, conversations hit different, priorities rewire themselves. You start recognizing what's real, what's expired, and what's quietly calling you forward. It's not about intensity, it's about alignment. You may find yourself craving simplicity, craving truth, craving motion that actually leads somewhere. Spiritually, it's a quiet unlock, like something inside you gets switched on, not in chaos, but in clarity. This moon doesn't bring noise, it brings direction. It clears out distractions, so your focus sharpens, your decisions tighten, and your energy moves with purpose. The transformation isn't loud, but it's real, and it's yours. This moon shows up for those who are ready to stop circling around change and finally step into it. On July 22nd, 2025, the sky offers a rare sync between movement and meaning. This isn't about random motion in the stars. It's intentional, and it speaks in ways that cut through the background noise. A rare lunar phase teams up with planetary players to shift the tone of your inner world and rewrite what direction looks like, not just spiritually, but practically. Lunar energy during this time brings a different kind of clarity. It's like the universe fine-tuning your internal settings, helping you edit what you've been tolerating and amplify what actually aligns. When this moon connects with Mercury and Uranus, two forces known for sparking breakthroughs, the results are subtle but undeniable. You may notice conversations opening doors, unexpected insights rising to the surface, or new ideas landing that finally feel like the right fit. From a numerology lens, the combination is even more charged. The 22nd in the date is known as a master number, not for its complexity, but for its ability to build something real from the ground up. It carries structure, accountability, and vision. Paired with the energy of the number 7, which thrives on reflection and spiritual intelligence, this moment becomes about more than change. It's about crafting something sustainable and soul-aligned. Astrologically, the moon lands in a part of the zodiac that doesn't entertain surface-level energy. It calls for honesty, refinement, and decision-making that reflects who you are now, not who you used to be. That means certain attachments may naturally lose their pull. Old ways of operating could quietly dissolve, not with drama, but with ease. You're no longer trying to fit into things you've outgrown, and the cosmos is backing that shift. Everything about this moment points toward alignment, not perfection, not pressure, just a return to what actually fits your energy, your goals, your evolution. The transformations it invites are less about breaking down and more about leveling up, not flashy, not loud, just real. Some will experience this shift through small choices, a new boundary, a yes that used to be a no, a conversation that changes everything. Others may notice a sudden urge to simplify, declutter, or move toward people and spaces that actually refuel them. No forced outcomes, just a gradual rebalancing that finally feels right. The astrology here is practical in its magic. It's not asking you to wait for signs, it's handing you green lights and clear paths. Even if things don't change overnight, the direction becomes sharper. You're supported in closing loops, clearing space, and committing to what builds peace, purpose, and progress. Take a moment to just be. No goals, no fixing, no racing toward anything. Everything outside of this moment can wait. Right now you're here, and that's enough. Let the noise of the day drift to the background. Let the edges soften. You're not here. You've been moving toward this point, even on the days when nothing made sense. And somehow, through every twist and shift, you've landed in a space that's ready for more. Not more doing, more alignment, more clarity, more space to simply exist as who you are without apology. Now tune into the quiet underneath the surface. You might not be able to explain it, but it's there. A kind of stillness that doesn't need words. A pause that holds power. That's where this next version of you begins to take shape. Not by force, but by flow. Notice how different things feel when you stop rushing. There's no competition here. No one you have to prove anything to. The moment asks nothing from you except presence. And in presence, things move differently. You become aware of what's been weighing you down without even realizing it. You begin to release the roles you've outgrown, the obligations you didn't choose, the versions of yourself that once helped you survive, but no longer match who you're becoming. Now bring your attention to your foundation, the place where your energy lives when no one's watching, not the identity you show to the world, the one that lives beneath the labels. That version of you is where your power comes from, not louder, just clearer. This next part of your journey is about matching your outer world with that inner clarity. It's not about getting louder, doing more, or adding pressure. It's about lining up with what feels right in a quiet, grounded way. July 22nd opens that door. You don't need to know every step ahead. You just need to be present with the one you're standing in now. Bring to mind something that you're ready to upgrade. It might not even be a problem, just something that no longer fits the version of you you're stepping into. Let it rise gently. No analysis, no shame, just awareness. And from that awareness, shift your focus to what's ready to come in. You're not chasing anything, you're calling it in through alignment. Let the future meet you halfway. Picture the kind of space, people, energy, and clarity you've quietly been wanting. This isn't about fantasy. This is about energetic match. Who you are becoming already lives in that space. You're just syncing up with it. Now, mentally drop the weight that you don't want to carry forward. That expectation, that outdated story, that old plan that doesn't excite you anymore. You're not throwing it away with anger. You're gently placing it down because it's no longer part of your design. You're allowed to change. You're allowed to grow without needing permission. Let the next version of your life be built on intention, not reaction. From here forward, every small action can reflect something bigger. Every yes can come from wholeness, not fear. Every pause can be a reset instead of a retreat. Now begin to call in a phrase that feels like truth. One that holds steady even when things wobble. It doesn't have to be perfect, just something you can return to. Maybe it's, I move with clarity. Maybe it's, I trust where I'm headed, or I'm ready for what matches my growth. Whatever lands, hold it, let it anchor you. You're not behind, you're not too late, you're not missing anything. You're exactly where expansion begins. Not because it's loud or dramatic, but because it's rooted. The changes ahead aren't here to break anything. They're here to realign. And from that place, give yourself permission to reset. Not in a way that wipes everything clean, but in a way that reclaims your focus. Your time matters. Your energy matters. You don't need to pour it into things that drain you just to be enough. You already are. Now let your awareness drift to the connections in your life. Who shows up with light? Who sees you clearly without needing you to shrink? You're being guided toward more of that. More support, more realness, more space to grow without being boxed in. And that means saying goodbye to what no longer brings peace, even if it once brought comfort. Growth doesn't always mean leaving. It means choosing alignment over familiarity. You can honor the past and still outgrow it. Let every part of you that's been on hold begin to stretch again. The parts that got quiet just to keep the peace. The parts that waited until it was the right time. Now is right enough. The moon event on July 22nd is a mirror, but also a signal. Not loud, not aggressive, just real and ready. You're no longer living in rehearsals. The next chapter is live, and you're ready. Not perfect, but present. That's more than enough. Pause in this space for a moment longer. Let the noise dissolve. Let the clarity rise. There's no script for how this should look. You're writing it in real time. When you're ready, you'll move forward lighter. Not because everything has changed, but because the world outside may still be spinning fast. But in this space, you get to decide the pace. You don't owe anyone urgency. You don't need to meet anyone else's timeline. This reset is yours. Quiet, grounded, aligned with what actually supports your growth. Let your attention shift now, not toward what's missing, but toward what's already building. The connections that bring ease. The ideas that keep returning no matter how much you try to push them away. The parts of you that are steady, even when everything else is in motion. That's your foundation. That's what gets to lead. Now maybe the path ahead isn't fully mapped. That's okay. You're not required to know every step. You're simply being invited to move with more awareness, more intention than you did before. The version of you that stayed small for safety. It served a purpose, and now it can rest. Let's shift into integration. No more reaching outward for validation. Start drawing energy inward. Refocus. Reclaim. You're not broken. You're in the middle of a powerful refinement. Each layer you've peeled back has revealed something more real, more honest, more aligned with where you're going. Let that awareness settle in your body. Not in tension, but in strength. Not in rush, but in rhythm. Your presence carries weight. You don't need to shrink to be received. The people meant to meet you where you're going won't need you to explain your worth. Bring forward a simple intention, something small, rooted, and real. Maybe it's peace, maybe it's focus, maybe it's showing up without self-editing. Whatever it is, let it be enough. You don't need to impress anyone with your healing. You just need to live it. Now allow a calm kind of certainty to move through. Not the kind that looks confident from the outside, but the kind that feels settled from within. The kind that no longer chases, the kind that chooses. Look at how far you've come. Not in accomplishments, but in how you carry yourself. In how you pause before reacting. In how you've learned to hold space for your own truth, even when no one claps for it. That's growth. Quiet, consistent, real. The lunar energy around July 22nd marks a checkpoint, but also an opening. It doesn't demand change. It offers support for the change that's already brewing inside you. And in that space, the smallest choice can echo the loudest. You may begin to notice what no longer sticks. Conversations that once drained you, losing their grip. Old narratives falling flat. The way you used to shrink in certain rooms. That version of you doesn't speak for this season anymore. This doesn't mean cutting everything out. It means refining, being more selective with where your time goes. Choosing the kind of people and projects that actually nourish what you're building inside. The version of you that's unfolding now, it's intentional, it's magnetic, it's steady without needing to shout. Let that truth land. Not everything is meant to be kept, and not every ending is a loss. Some exits are upgrades, some pauses are progress. Some changes are the exact thing you didn't know you needed. Now bring your attention back to your own center, the part of you that no trend, no opinion, no noise can shake. That's your compass. That's the space that stays steady, even as the world spins loud around you. When you live from that place, you don't have to force alignment. You attract it. Repeat your intentions silently. Anchor it. Let it guide your next decision. Your next conversation, your next move. Let it show up, not just in your words, but in your walk, in your boundaries, in how you speak to yourself when no one else is listening. You don't need permission to reset. You don't need proof that it's worked. All you need is your own presence and the trust that what's meant for you won't require you to twist yourself to earn it. Let this moment mark a turning point, not because something dramatic happened, but because you chose to live different. Not louder, not faster, just more real. You get to move through the rest of this season with less second guessing, with a deeper knowing, with a clearer connection to your own wisdom. What used to cloud your judgment no longer has the same pull. What used to distract you now fades out quicker. Your clarity is the filter. And the best part, you don't have to do it all at once. You just have to stay in motion. Realignment doesn't come from a single moment. It comes from momentum, from choosing again and again to stay rooted in what's true, not what's familiar. Now shift into gratitude, not the kind that ignores hard things, but the kind that honors how far you've come through them. Gratitude for your growth, for your awareness, for the quiet parts of your life that are finally matching the vision you've carried for so long. Every small win, every boundary you finally held, every moment you chose peace over performance, that counts. That matters. This moon cycle invites you to walk lighter, to trust your steps, even if they're small, to know that the next version of your life doesn't have to be built on burnout or proving yourself. It can be built on clarity, calm, and realignment. Take one last pause in this space. Hold your intention close. Let it live in your posture, in your pace, in your tone. You don't have to go back to who you were before this moment. You've shifted quietly, powerfully, and that's enough. Not every moment on the calendar stirs something bigger inside. But July 22nd isn't ordinary. It's the kind of day that unpacks something you've carried in silence for a long time, without even knowing it. The energy around this date doesn't ask for attention. It pulls it, quietly, steadily, like music that gets louder only when you finally stop and listen. This phase is like a mirror you didn't know was in front of you. Not a reflection of what's on the outside, but the version of you you've been avoiding, the choices you've postponed, the words you've swallowed, and most importantly, the life you know is yours but haven't stepped fully into yet. What's happening now isn't loud, but it's disruptive. It's not dramatic, but it's impossible to ignore once it begins to stir. This is the kind of moment where the truth doesn't just rise to the surface, it walks right up and stands in front of you. The kind you can't unsee. It's not about what people think of you. It's not about the timeline others want you to follow. It's about the unspoken yes that's been waiting behind all your polite no's. The part of you that never wanted approval, only permission. Not from anyone else, but from you. You've outgrown versions of yourself without realizing it. You've evolved past old labels, quiet doubts, inherited limits. But those old patterns don't leave on their own. They wait. They linger until a moment like this demands you choose something different. And maybe you've known, maybe you've sensed that you're not meant to keep playing small, not meant to carry what's no longer aligned with the future that's been quietly building behind the scenes. A future that doesn't match your past. That's why the old things feel tight now, because they don't fit anymore. There's power in the exact moment you stop negotiating with your potential. When you stop watering down your wants. When you stop shrinking to fit into conversations you've outgrown. That power is personal, unmistakable, and it's here now. Don't look for signs outside. They're already inside. That inner pull. It's not random. That idea you can't shake off. That's not noise. It's direction. That nudge to change something quietly, but completely. That's your signal. We're not taught how to trust moments like this. We're taught to wait, to explain ourselves, to second-guess the exact things that move us forward. But what if you didn't wait this time? What if you didn't need a plan, a roadmap, a green light from someone else? What if all you needed was to choose the version of you that's already been showing up in your daydreams? Some moments don't make sense at first glance. They won't come with clarity neatly tied in a bow. But that doesn't mean they're wrong. It means they're real. They're raw. They're yours. And if you're brave enough to stay with that tension, it will shape you into something undeniable. You're not here to repeat patterns. You're not here to coast through the same cycles dressed in different clothes. You're here to interrupt the loop, to take a deep internal breath, not the kind that fills your lungs, but the kind that fills your life, and say enough. Enough waiting. Enough apologizing. Enough pretending not to care when you do. Enough making peace with being misunderstood. The life that's waiting on the other side of this moment won't arrive through perfection. It'll arrive through honesty and boldness. And you, even if no one claps, even if no one gets it, even if it's messy, even if it doesn't work right away, even if you walk the first few steps alone, especially then, you don't need the full picture. You just need to move. One moment of honesty can break through years of hesitation. One real yes can unravel a lifetime of almost. It's not too late. It's not too early. It's right on time. Not by the clock, but by your own internal rhythm. And July 22nd is tuned to it, like a key in a lock you didn't know existed until it opened. All this inner movement has been leading to something specific. Not chaos, not confusion, clarity. That strange pulse in your life lately, the unfinished conversations, the strange timing, the unexpected reappearances, they weren't by accident. They've been pointing you back to yourself, the version of you that got buried under everyone else's expectations. The moon event on July 22nd, 2025, doesn't arrive with loud drama. It arrives quietly, but it flips a major switch. A switch that doesn't just light up the room. It changes the architecture of your inner home, the thoughts you carry, the way you enter a space, the silence you now recognize as power, not a gap to fill. Everything you've been second-guessing lately, your path, your people, your timing starts to click into place when you stop trying to match an outdated rhythm. This moon invites you to rewrite the melody, not by asking permission, not by gathering courage, but by letting go of what's been making you small. The deeper truth hits different this time. You're not chasing some new version of yourself. You're remembering the one that's always been steady, always been waiting behind the noise. That version doesn't need to hustle for space. It already owns the room. You just forgot to step into it. During this moon's rise, you may catch yourself reflecting on moments you thought were insignificant. A random compliment, a late-night realization, a time you listened to your gut and didn't follow the crowd. These fragments build the foundation now. They were never random. They were evidence of your real alignment with self. It doesn't scream for your attention, but it doesn't go unnoticed either. This shift glows in small actions, a decision made without consulting doubt, a goodbye said without bitterness, a truth spoken even if your voice shakes, the courage to unknow what isn't yours anymore. That's where the real turning point lives. Even relationships begin to feel lighter, not because they changed, but because your energy inside them did. You're no longer seeking to be understood. You're already whole with or without validation, and people can feel that. The right ones rise with you. The rest gently fall away without force. A quiet kind of bravery begins to move in your daily rhythm, one where you no longer argue with life's timing, no longer edit yourself down to stay digestible. Walk into situations without shrinking. Let people misunderstand you because your peace doesn't depend on being explained. And all the while the moon watches in silence. It doesn't try to guide you with logic. It mirrors your truth without commentary. Its glow doesn't ask questions. It confirms what you already know, but were too distracted to honor. The version of you that emerges now isn't louder. It's sharper, clearer, less entangled. You're not interested in debating your worth anymore, not because you've become arrogant, but because you've stopped placing it up for negotiation. You don't need to burn bridges. You don't need dramatic declarations. You simply walk toward what matches your real rhythm. And if it doesn't match, it quietly exits your field. This moon has no need for applause. It invites you to move differently, talk less, and trust more. Not because things are perfect, but because you finally decided you don't need everything to be certain before you honor what's true for you. The pause between your past and your next move becomes a sanctuary. You're no longer afraid of the in-between. You've started to see it as a launch pad, not a waiting room. And that shift alone breaks years of emotional patterns without a single argument. You might not have all the answers, but you now know which questions were never yours to carry. You've dropped the weight. That's the win. Time has been moving in ways we can't always explain lately. Faster in some places, slower in others. Almost like the universe is waiting to sync up with something big. Not every moment is meant to pass quietly. Some are built to root our focus, stir up what we've kept tucked away, and make sure we don't settle where we were never meant to stay. And when those moments show up, how we respond can shift so much more than we realize. That's exactly what makes July 22nd different. Not louder, not more chaotic, just clearer. The rare moon event on that date isn't here to convince anyone. It's here to echo what you've already known deep down, even if you've been too distracted to give it your full attention. And the wild part, you're not the only one waking up to it. People across time zones are tapping into the same wave of clarity. That's not coincidence, that's movement. It's easy to scroll past things like this, brush off content with messages that seem too deep or too far out. But staying open is where the real magic starts to land. This isn't about always knowing what's next. It's about being willing to meet what's arriving without resistance. So now's your chance to lean into that. Comment below what's been shifting for you, what you're done holding on to, or even a word that's been repeating in your head lately. Someone else might need to see it. And if today's message hit home or opened something up inside, share it with someone who's been searching too. Let it ripple, let the right eyes find it. And don't forget to hit like. It not only helps more people connect, but it tells the rhythm of this moment. We're here, we're ready, we're paying attention. Not everything needs to make sense right away. What matters is showing up in your own story with your eyes open. Let July 22nd be the day you no longer scroll past your own signals. Let others witness your clarity. Speak it, mark it.